They were once the undisputed kings of custom motorcycles, turning steel and grease into pure gold on the Discovery Channel. But the moment the cameras stopped rolling, the stars of American Chopper watched their empire crumble. Court documents exposed millions in debt. Family members dragged each other to court, and lives fell apart in ways no one saw coming. Paul Teutul Sr. He was the booming voice and iron fist of Orange County choppers. Arms like tree trunks, sunglasses always on, barking orders while legendary bikes took shape. To millions of fans, he was the ultimate symbol of old-school grit. But behind the roar of engines and flying tempers, the business was already bleeding out. In February 2018, he quietly filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy, admitting he owed nearly $1.708 million to almost 50 creditors. His total assets? Just over $1.9 million. He was pulling in about $15,793 a month, but burning through more than $12,612 just to keep his head above water. The sprawling Montgomery, New York mansion that viewers watched him build on TV went into foreclosure. In 2019, he sold it for $1.5 million, less than half of what he believed it was worth. The sale even included his tools and farm animals because every dollar mattered. Money wasn't the only mess. In 2017, his business partner Thomas Derbyshire sued him for fraud after Paul Sr. blew through $3 million meant for a new TV project, delaying shoots for fishing trips, refusing to work with hired crew, secretly paying his son Michael's salary from the budget, and making shady side deals, like trading dog food for his girlfriend's animal rescue project. In 2019, a judge found him in contempt for refusing to pay $17,000 to a shop that worked on his 2009 Corvette ZR1. He owed the town of Crawford more than $151,230 in unpaid taxes and carried $21,300 in credit card debt. Reports later linked him to a scheme that allegedly defrauded Central American investors of $12 to $15 million tied to his failed Florida Roadhouse project. By early 2020, he closed the original New York shop, moved south, and reopened as Orange County Choppers Roadhouse and Museum in Clearwater, Florida. Now 76, he still welds, still rides, still posts on YouTube, still acts like the glory days never left. Even though the money, the trust, and most of the empire did. Paul Teutul Jr. Paul Jr. was the creative heart of the operation, the designer whose wild bikes made the world stop and stare. He and his father built Orange County Choppers into a global name. Then, at the peak of the show's fame in 2008, Sr. fired him on camera. The explosion had been building for years, but this time it was final. Jr. still owned 20% of the company, and Sr. wanted him gone for good. He triggered a buyout clause and had the share valued at exactly $0. Jr. took him to court and won in 2010. The clause was ruled unenforceable. He kept his stake, but the family was shattered beyond repair. In 2009, he started Paul Jr. Designs near his old home in New York. Big-name clients, Microsoft, Cadillac, Mercedes-Benz, kept the phones ringing. The bikes were still jaw-dropping. But by March 2018, the bills caught up. He filed Chapter 13 bankruptcy with debts nearly matching his $1.9 million in assets, including $51,308 in back taxes. His Montgomery mansion was the biggest thing he owned, but it wasn't enough to stop the bleeding. Today he still builds, still judges high-end shows, still carries the name. His net worth hovers around $2 million. Respectable, but a shadow of what it could have been if the family empire had stayed together. Mikey Teutul Mikey was the comic relief in a shop full of screaming and flying tools. He answered phones, swept floors, and kept everyone laughing. But away from the cameras, he was losing a private war with alcohol. Eventually, his father had enough and kicked him out of the business completely. Mikey vanished from episodes, checked himself into rehab, and fought to get clean. Trouble kept coming. In 2019, a photographer sued him, his father, and OCC for using his images without permission on merchandise and social media. In 2020, a judge ordered Paul Sr. to pay the photographer $258,485. Mikey had bought a house from his mother in 2004 for $550,000 and was forced to sell it 5 years later for only $460,000. His once $2 million net worth shrank to around $1 million. After rehab, he returned to OCC in a low-key role, assistant general manager and social media guy. He launched a gourmet pasta sauce brand called Fark and opened an art gallery featuring his metal sculptures and paintings. The spotlight is gone, but he's still creating. Vinny DiMartino in 2007. After years of building some of the show's most iconic bikes, Vinny walked out. Paul Sr. stared into the camera and said, "Everyone's replaceable. No goodbye, no thank you." Vinny teamed up with Cody Connolly and opened V-Force Customs. For a while it worked. He even came back to TV on American Chopper, Senior vs. Junior. Then the 2008 recession killed the custom bike market. Clients disappeared. By 2013, V-Force was finished. He sold every piece of equipment and quietly closed the doors. He opened DiMartino Motorsports, switched to repairing cars and light trucks, and kept the lights on with honest local work. Net worth today, roughly $1 million. No drama, no cameras, just a man who proved he never needed Paul Sr.'s approval to survive. Rick Petco for 13 years. Rick drove 90 minutes each way from Pennsylvania to the OCC shop, 3 hours a day lost in traffic. He earned $13,000 every time he appeared on an episode and left the show with about $1.75 million. But the constant chaos and commute were eating his life. In 2016, for years after getting married, he quit. He took a job minutes from home at Pocono Mountain Harley-Davidson, then started his own business, RPD and Company, making custom knives and wedding rings from his farmhouse. Now he spends his weekends at bike shows with his wife and kids, happy, drama-free, and finally in control of his own time. Cody Connolly. Cody started at OCC when he was just 14, welding on national television and growing up in front of millions. Paul Sr. sent him to motorcycle school and built him his own bike, or so it seemed. In 2007, at age 20, Cody quit and sued, claiming OCC kept using his image on merchandise without paying him and that the gift bike was never actually his. He asked for $250,000. The case settled quietly in 2011. After that, Cody vanished from the motorcycle world. He now runs Revel Ranch Excavation, a demolition and land clearing company in upstate New York. Married with a daughter, he stays far away from social media and the spotlight. Jason Pohl, the designer fans love to hate. Hired in 2004 for his digital art skills, Jason's concepts were often too wild for the Shopee metal crowd. Senior once called one of his builds a cake decorator on camera, and Jason broke down in tears. After the company's 2018 bankruptcy and years of online backlash, he left in 2020, moved to Florida, and now works as a SolidWorks brand ambassador. Estimated net worth, around $700,000. No more screaming shops, just quiet 3D modeling. Nick Hansford and Christian Welter, the two quiet pros who kept the bikes running while everyone else imploded. Trained together, worked at OCC for 17 and 14 years respectively, avoided every lawsuit and scandal. Christian played drums and even cut an album with the shop band. Nick moved to Virginia and dropped off the radar. Both walked away clean, stable, and still married with kids. Daniel Teutul, Paul Sr.'s second oldest son, never appeared on the show, but in 2007 he was accused of helping strip the family's original steel business, OC Ironworks, of all its assets and moving them into a new company, leaving creditors with nothing. In 2008, a judge ordered him to pay $500,000, 10 times what his father and brother had to pay. Instead of collapsing, Daniel rebuilt. Today, he runs a thriving Orange County Ironworks LLC and a second company, Gabriel Steel Erectors, employing nearly 70 people. He's the one who actually constructed the famous OCC headquarters viewers saw on TV, quietly turning a $500,000 scandal into one of New York's strongest steel businesses. From TV legends to bankruptcy courts, lawsuits, addiction, and fresh starts, the American Chopper family's real story was far wilder than anything scripted for the screen.